welcome back to the Beauty Topics podcast. I'm your host, Chantel, and I have an amazing guest on my couch today, which I can't even believe that she's here. We finally made this happen, but I would have moved heaven and earth. I would have waited. I would have came to you, whatever I needed to do to make this happen. I have a phenomenal woman sitting next to me. I met Dr. Camille Wardrop Alleyne when she was doing a L'Oreal campaign. I was blessed to be able to touch her beautiful face, and she was chosen as literally one of the women that are just changing the world. And she definitely is doing that. She is literally a rocket scientist. She is one of the most educated people I have ever met in my life. She is a gorgeous Black queen from the islands, and I mean, just everything about her is inspiring. She has a foundation. She travels all over the world. She runs her own company. I mean, when you think of the term boss, it is her. She is the epitome of what a boss is, of what a leader is, and somebody who's like moving the culture forward. So I am so honored and so grateful to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. It's just a pleasure to be here with you.
I'm so excited. I almost don't even know where to start, but can you please just tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. Migrated to the U.S. about 40 years ago. I can't even believe it's been that long.
Wow.
But grew up in Trinidad as one of the last of three girls. And my family, my parents really stressed education, which is what you see playing out when you look at my career. Mm-hmm. A lot of education really opened doors for me. And I think that was what my mother knew, that education would be the key, especially with girls. Yes. She said, you have to be self-sufficient. I don't want you growing up and having to rely on anybody. And so she was focused on us getting our education and spending time studying and all that. So I always say I never learned to cook until I was an adult because my mom was like, get out of the kitchen. You need to be studying. Mm-hmm. And so I grew up in all-girl environment schools, and which I think really helped me to excel. Mm-hmm. And so I was a really good kid in math and science. I loved math. Like that was like my superpower was math. And so I knew I didn't want to be, when I was thinking about what I wanted to do as a career when I grew up, that I didn't want to be a doctor or lawyer, which are the two things your parents know.
The top two that they push.
Be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, or a nurse. And I was like, I don't want to do any of those. But we had a family friend who was an engineer. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know what that is. But I remember asking my mom if he made a lot of money. And she said yes. I'm like, sure, that's what I'm doing. Sign me up. But then I found out I needed math and science, which I was already good at. So I decided, okay, engineering. And then I decided aeronautical engineering because I love planes, because we flew a lot as a family.
Yes.
And so I fell in love with planes, and I was like, I want to learn how to design planes. And I was always that young person. I was sharing this with someone earlier, that I always wanted to take the path least traveled. Mm-hmm. If somebody was doing it, I wasn't interested in it. If it was something really hard that nobody did, I wanted to take it on. I love challenges, and I am a problem solver. So I didn't know any aeronautical engineers, but I'm like, that's what I'm doing. And so I migrated to the U.S. to study aeronautical engineering. And it was in my freshman year that the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up, and that just changed my life forever. I didn't know at that point there was a place called NASA. Mm-hmm. There was a job of designing rockets and spacecraft, and there was a job of flying in space until that day. Mm-hmm. And that was it for me. And I was like, that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And 6 years after that, I was driving into the gates of Kennedy Space Center at NASA. That was 30-something years ago. Yeah, so being surrounded by people who look like you, I think that foundation really helps give you a sense of self. Mm-hmm. People say that environment is not realistic because when you come out, that's not how the world is. Mm-hmm. But there's something to be said about building confidence in yourself, building, who you are in the world, how you see yourself in the world. And I think that's what HBCUs do for us. Mm-hmm. And so I graduated with a bachelor's at Howard, and then I went to Florida I got accepted to Florida State University, but the College of Engineering, there's the Florida A&M, Florida State University College of Engineering. They combined both schools at the College of Engineering. So I ended up graduating with my degree from FAMU, but it was a combined program. And so I did my first master's in mechanical engineering at FAM.
That's amazing.
And one of two, we were the first two Black women to graduate with a master's degree in mechanical engineering from Florida A&M University.
Do you, I'm like...
And then we were both hired by NASA, which was amazing because I didn't know how I was going to get to NASA. And it is, I tell the story of you never know, because I had applied to many schools for grad school and I got rejected from all of them. And then I ended up going into Howard one day and seeing the marketing material for Florida State University. And they said, do your GRE and get this score. And I was like, okay, I could do that. And they accepted me. Not me taking on that acceptance was me really stepping into my future, not even knowing that because FAMU had a relationship with NASA.
Wow. But see, that's okay because when one door closes, guess what? I can find a crack in a window.
Exactly. And you
somebody
break the door down.
Exactly. Or just, as a Black woman, kick it in. Break it down. I mean, you had to, I'm sure you had to break through a lot. Like, I mean, I just remember literally watching, like the movie Numbers with my girls and just watching what they had to go through and how they had to kick those doors down. I'm like, that's like who came before you, exactly. Hidden Figures. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. I'm just, it's that type of stuff that you have to deal with and push through. And if you don't have the strength of character and that community support, it's
absolutely,
it almost feels like it's impossible. But I mean, like you said, you and a friend of yours, look what you did, look what you accomplished. That's incredible. And I mean, Howard, wow, a wind tunnel. I have several colleagues and people that I've been friends with for years that went to HBCUs, and they say, let me tell you something, you're going to work 3 times as hard because when you walk out of there, they want to make sure that nobody is slamming doors in your faces because of a lack of education. So that's not the reason. Yes. Sure. Oh, yes.
I mean, I've been on the front lines of the human space, the U.S. human space flight program. It's incredible. This little girl from Trinidad, this small dot in the Caribbean Sea that grew up to be on the front line and to have such an impact and just be a part, be at the table. Not just be in the room, but be at the table. Incredible.
That journey is, like you say, that small little drop of water. You hearing someone say, he's an engineer, okay, he makes a lot of money, sold. Just from that young age, seed. That planted little seed turned into you being this,
It's when I think about it and I tell people,
I mean, I literally get chills. I just couldn't even, when you don't, sometimes you put yourself in a box and you don't truly understand what's possible. When people say you can do it if you put your mind to it, a lot of people are like, oh, that's just something people say. But then I look at someone like you and I'm like, no, everything you said you were going to do, everything that you manifested, everything that you worked for, it came to be, and like so much more than even possibly you even dreamed of. Sure.
You could never dream that big. You can't dream that big. You have big dreams, but dreaming that big, But what I had was a belief in myself.
Yeah.
And as time went along and I matured, I gained more confidence in myself. I didn't start off like that, but I just knew what I was bringing to the table and my pursuit of excellence. I tell young people, there's no substitute for excellence. And you, especially as a woman of color, you got to be 10 times better than everybody else.
Yes.
For half of the recognition. And you have to just know that that's how things are. But resilience, courage, determination, perseverance. Those are the things that I'm made of. That's what helped me to just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and not giving up on myself and believing in myself when no other people didn't. I had role models too. So a lot of how I navigated was looking at my role models. People I probably never even met. I mean, the women of Hidden Figures that we know now, the human computers. I mean, I'm very clear that I couldn't have done what I did if not for them.
Paving
I stand on their shoulders.
That's right.
But I remember starting at NASA. And there's one hidden figure. She's still alive because she was younger than like the Katherine Johnsons of the world and the Mary Jacksons. She was 20 years their junior. But she came in as an engineer. They were mathematicians. She came in as an engineer and they put her in the human computer pool at Langley Space Center. And she had to fight to get in onto the engineering track because there was no progression. There was no path to advancement. Being in the human computer pool, she knew the path to advancement was being on the engineering side, and she was an engineer, so she fought. She actually became one of the first senior executives at NASA. Black woman, Dr. Christine Darden. I've never met her actually, but I remember she was still there when I started because I had a poster, and I didn't know that at the time. I mean, I knew about these women when everybody knew about them in 2017. I'm talking 1992. Okay. I had a poster. Somebody had done a poster of all of the Black senior executives. Senior executives are like C-suite, right? The CEO, whatever, at NASA. And there were probably 10 people on the list, men and women, and she was one of them. And I knew, and what fascinated me about her is because she actually was an expert in the same area I was an expert in. She was an aerodynamicist. She studied aerodynamics. She wrote papers. She had patents. She studied the sonic booms. When the shuttle used to come back, or even a SpaceX vehicle, if you are near, you would hear as it's coming through the atmosphere, there are these two loud booms, and it's called the sonic booms. And so she had patents on research on the sonic booms. And I was an aerodynamicist. So to me, she was like, oh my God, like I looked up to her like she was a goddess.
Wow.
Right? And so those people were the ones who I did research on. I looked at what they had done in their career, how they had navigated their career. And so even from a distance, they motivated me. They gave me a lot of strength. They inspired me.
Yes.
And so it's amazing that, now she's recognized as one of the hidden figures, but I knew about her when I first started my career, which was crazy.
Wow. But seeing her though, and that picture on the wall, that makes it tangible. That makes it achievable. You can see it and go, I can follow this path. Yeah. I can do this by seeing her up on that wall. Yeah. I mean. Yeah.
And then I had another mentor who was in Kennedy. She was also on the poster. She was the first Black woman to be the chief medical officer at Kennedy Space Center. She had an MD, PhD, Dr. Long. She was a dear friend. She's since passed, but she was one of my early mentors in my career. Because there were many Black women. Like you could count them on one hand.
You could count them on one hand. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, that's not an exaggeration. And so she adopted me, and she would, guide me. And it was just, so she was that caliber of women were early kind of mentors, role models for me. But then I had men throughout my career. In fact, men who didn't look like me were the ones who actually end up advocating and being sponsors and helping me really advance, through my career. So it's not only people who look like us. Right. We gravitate towards those folks, but oftentimes it's people who don't look like us who become our greatest advocates.
Yeah. But I still the fact that you were in the presence of those type of women. I mean,
we just had a call. He's since retired now. He was a senior leader at NASA, brought all these retired senior executives together. It was like a few weeks ago. And somehow I got on the call because I'm retired now. And just being on the call with all these people I knew and admired and looked up to, it was just like mind blowing. Like early the black folks who were early
Yes.
and high up at NASA. I mean, those a rare group of people, but wow.
You have met some of the most brilliant minds to ever live.
I've worked. I
mean,
always say that. People
literally.
say, "What are the highlights of your career?" Is working with some of the most brilliant people you will ever meet in your life.
Wow.
And dedicated and passionate. They spend their careers 30 years, 40 years in space because it's what they love. Priceless.
Well, thank you. You've made me cry twice. But thank you so much for being here. And I just hope people listening to this episode, you know, if you're struggling with something or you're thinking you can't accomplish something, please just listen to her story and what she's accomplished in her life, and just know that if you put the work behind the dream and the passion, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop you. Because I'm telling you, just thinking about you being a young woman walking through the doors of NASA, I'm absolutely floored. And that tells me that anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Thank you all so much for listening to this episode. Please check us out on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. And also check out the Brightest Stars Foundation and, you know, check it out, drop a like, and see, maybe figure out a way that you can help a young person in your life and see if you can make a difference for them. Thank you so much, and take care, everyone.